Climbing the walls to supersize your business. What the heck does that mean? Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, also known as Pajama Grandma, with an interesting idiom, the idiom of climbing the walls. What the heck does it mean? Where did it come from? Climbing the walls, they believe, came from the time when, in the military, when soldiers would be storming a castle and they'd literally be climbing the walls of the castle, and they were anxious to get over the walls and into the castle so that the battle could begin, and of course that they could win. Now, whenever you're frustrated or anxious during a challenging situation, a lot of times we'll say that we're climbing the walls. We use that as a way to describe our frustration, to describe our feeling that there's just nothing we can do. We're not able to endure or tolerate all of these challenges that are around us. Now, in your business, let me ask you, do you ever have challenges or obstacles or problems to solve? Yeah, hundreds of times a day usually, right? There's always stuff coming up. There's always things in the environment. There's always projects and product launches and people and vendors and you name it. There are challenges up the yin-yang when it comes to running our own business, and especially when we're in growth mode, when we want to grow and supersize and build our business. Now, usually the climbing the walls part and frustration come from our internal expectation of things not being exactly how we think they should be right now. Now, where does that come from? Should comes from judgment. If I'm judging that something isn't perfect yet, or it isn't how it should be, it's me judging that it isn't what it should be. I'm not looking at it and saying, here's where it is, here's where we are, and here's the next thing we need to do. I'm saying, this isn't right, this isn't as it should be, I'm frustrated, I'm climbing the walls, it's not happening fast enough, it's not happening the way I want it to. I admit I am a recovering frustration addict. I, in my younger years, was a maniac. I wanted everything done, and I wanted it done now, and I wanted it done this way or that way, and, I was, I'm sure, a terror sometimes to work with or be around because I was always going at a frenzied pace, and back then, I expected everybody else to run at that pace, too. It wasn't until I got a little more mature and I had a few knocks in the noggin that taught me everybody works at their own pace. Everybody runs through their life at their own speed. We all function and react and act differently. And it's not for everybody to be at my pace. It's for me to run at my pace and my speed and find the people and the resources and the relationships and the things that move along with me at that pace. It's not for me to judge other people and how their performance is with respect to certain aspects of me building my business, right? Or us building my business. And so oftentimes the frustration that we feel, and here's the trick, we take this frustration that we feel or this challenge and we turn it into something to be excited about, something to be curious about, something to open our mind up to the possibilities of, and often we end up with much better results than we would have if we had just insisted upon the judgment of how we think things should be as being the thing that's making us climb the walls because it's not like we think it should be. We get absolutely, exponentially better results than we had even dreamt possible. At least that's been my experience. Love if you share in the comments below what your experience has been with situations where you feel like you're climbing the walls. Now, I admit, I still get in situations where I feel like I'm climbing the walls. Might be hanging out with my 4-year-old granddaughter, and she might be fussy about something, and I find myself saying, okay, this is driving me nuts. I'm climbing the walls. I'm not sure what to do because I'll have tried like 12 things, forgetting that 4-year-olds, just like adults, by the way, you got to keep trying things until you figure out what works for them. You have to find the thing that motivates the why for each different adult that you're working with, just like with a 4-year-old. So you have to figure out what's the problem, why is she upset, what's the challenge, what are the options and possibilities? And you have to offer up a whole bunch of them until one clicks, and they're like, oh yeah, that's the thing that will get me out of this funk. So when it comes to the feeling of anxiety and overwhelm and frustration with anything that's going on in your life or your business, take a deep breath, stop, and ask yourself, is it really, there's nothing I can do? Is it, and if there's nothing you can do, guess what? You can always change your mind and your perspective about the situation. So there's always something we can do, even when we think there's nothing we can do. But frankly, the world's full of infinite possibilities. So Am I thinking that there's nothing I can do? Am I climbing the walls because I'm judging something as it should be different than it actually is? Then I just take a step back and I say, okay, what is? And then what's the next thing I'm going to do about it? And if I'm stepping back and I stop judging it and I get curious about, well, what is the thing that we could do? What is another possibility? What is another way of looking at this? All of a sudden the frustration and the climbing the walls feeling dissipates and I feel much better and I get a better result. Excuse me, sometimes I get a tickly throat. So, share in the comments below what makes you climb the walls. What makes you super frustrated? And let's see if we can't come up with some solutions together. Sid, have an awesome day. If I can help you in any way, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow. Probably still coughing. Bye.